Let's go, DEKA FIT!
Orlando, Florida, we are set for the regular season finale of the DEKA FIT Series. It's the last chance qualifier, the final time that these elite athletes will have a chance to put their stamp on the standings and qualify for a world championship. I am Xander Dean. He is who calls him in, and Luke, this is exciting. A bit of a different setup for us today.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to be able to, with technology, broadcast from our own homes, but here we are in Orlando with a live view. We are staring right now at Station 9, the tank push, right here in the middle of the DEKA Arena, and this should be a great morning of racing.
Absolutely, yeah. Orlando brings out a different type of element down here in South Florida, or Central Florida, I guess you can argue. That, man, this is awesome. We got a lot of people competing. This is the last race in the series, so we have a lot of people trying to stake their claim and solidify themselves at the World Championships. We have a couple of new faces coming into this race as well, too, that should spin a couple of different as far as effects at times and everything, but as far as other people trying to even better their times, so therefore they can get ready themselves towards World Championship.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the DEKA Northeast having a World Championship type field with the quality of field. It's the case just as much today, especially on the women's side. Meg Jacoby and Tara Jackson, Vivian, Tafuto there as well. We have 3 of the top 4 qualifiers and really 3 of the 4 athletes who have separated themselves this year. Only missing Lauren Weeks, but it should be a great morning of racing. Then on the men's side, you have a couple guys in VJ Jones and Nick Ryker trying to push for sub 30. You know, they're solidly in that first heat for World Championships coming up in December. But Isaac Sanderson has had one crack at it. He's got his second chance at the event. We'll see Isaiah Vidal for the first time here in the DEKA. So I don't know where you want to go with all that, but it's going to be a great morning of racing on both sides.
Absolutely, yeah. When you get the world record holder against the world champion, it always makes for an exciting race, and that's in the female heat right there. So I'm really looking forward to see how Tara and Meg will feed off each other in the race. And as far as the men's, like you mentioned, Isaac Sanderson is a dark horse into this hybrid world as well. We've never seen him before in a DEKA, and he came through and ran an amazing first time. I'm very excited to see how he puts up today, right behind the likes of Nick Ryker and VJ Jones.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these athletes play down the rivalry and the competitiveness, even though you know that, you know, after the start whistle goes, they want to beat each other. But Tara Jackson and Meg Jacoby have gone back and forth with records over the last few weeks. First, you had Meg in her DEKA FIT debut, taking about 17 seconds off the DEKA FIT world record. And then just last weekend, Tara Jackson beats the DEKA mile record by 1 second.
Right.
So these two are going to be squaring off most likely in multiple events in Dallas in December. And it's going to be exciting to see them throw down because, you know, we saw Meg for the first time coming into DEKA, sort of stepping down from Hyrox, and certainly has the running capacity to succeed at this event, as we saw. But she wasn't necessarily pushed in the second half of the race. You know, Vivian Tafuto ran very strong behind Meg, but it wasn't as much of a, you know, one-on-one competition. Today, though, it's going to be interesting to see how these two athletes approach it, knowing that they're going to be squaring off with a couple of others in the field in a couple of months' time.
Absolutely, yeah. The best thing about this race, and I spoke with a few of them prior to this as well, it's not so much of who's going to win today, but more so how they're going to feed off each other and learn their techniques and their running ability before World Championships. Getting an experience to go one-on-one with who you're going to be competing against is very vital in this sport. And then, of course, World Championships is a couple months out, right? So there is no race in between. Now is the time. So seeing Tara, and like you mentioned, Vivian as well, too, and Meg all get the feels of who is going to be leading out hot, or maybe they have different strategies coming into this race as well. It's all going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to this.
It's a nice change of pace for us, getting to see the athletes warm up in front of us. We just saw Isaac Sanderson jogging by. We're about 10 minutes or so away from getting started here at the men's race. Spent a lot of time talking about the women, but over on the men's side, you know, we don't necessarily have the top competitors in terms of who's leading the standings right now, right? Rylan Shattuck at the top, Ryan Kent, David Magida, who had a very strong race kind of following his own plan a couple of weeks ago. They're not here, but VJ Jones, we saw several months ago in the SoCal race. Nick Ryker, who's raced a couple of times, we saw him in Philly about 3 weeks ago. Them, are sitting in the top 10. Isaac Sanderson is 9th as well. So that's 3 of the top 10 athletes. You'd have to think that all 3 of them, well, they definitely are going to be in the top 10 for that first heat in Dallas, but it's a great opportunity for them to sort of trade some shots at each other and see if, some or all of them can go sub 30.
Absolutely. Yeah. I spoke with a few of them as well prior to this race, and I'm really looking forward to VJ. Said his sole purpose go sub 30. He said he is ready to go sub 30. He's ready for his body to hurt. And I was looking at a couple of stats prior to this. He ran a very efficient 5K at SoCal earlier this series, and so he runs the time that's needed for a sub 30 DEKA mark, and that's about a 17-minute 5K roughly. However, he just needs to be a little more efficient on the stations, which I know he'll have someone to push him in doing so, because I believe Nick Ryker will also go sub 30 today. We saw it for the 5th time ever. Dylan Scott last race in Philly. I think number 6 and number 7 will happen today between Nick Ryker and VJ Jones.
Yeah, VJ ran 30:07 in SoCal earlier this season. In that race, he didn't necessarily have anyone to push him. Mark Polzin himself ran a great race to get on the podium, but he was about 2 minutes behind. And today, whether it's Nick Ryker, whether it's Isaac Sanderson, whether it's someone else, or even multiple guys right there with VJ, you'd have to think that having someone around you, even if VJ is leading the race, I think knowing that there might be some people behind him should push him. You think 7 seconds, pretty easy to make that up, but in a dynamic event like this, things can happen. Certainly, though, VJ comes in with, some of the top ability in the field, and it's exciting to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's pretty apparent as far as who maybe the podium threats are today, as far as from experienced people that we have seen race. However, I just want to throw it out there, and we've mentioned the names already. Isaiah Vidal over in the men's field can shake up the whole podium threat. In fact, could shake up the whole standings completely. We have no idea where his fitness is at when it comes to DEKA itself. But coming off the CrossFit regionals he was competing in, he won Battle Bunker. He is still a very fit human being. And then, of course, Camila Maza, over the female side, she has done planted a name herself over in the High Rock scene. She ran 1 DEKA last year, but she's going to be running much faster. Her off-season training has been awesome. She has put on so much strength as far as her running abilities, and she told me her 5K the other day was an 18:08. So I am very excited to see how she is, and she very well could be in the mix between Meg, Vivian, and Tara today as well.
Excited to see what Alex Walker does today as well.
Alex
she's
Walker,
sitting in 16th, so you'd think that she's probably in terms of qualifying for Worlds, but with the 10th fastest time last year, she probably wants to get in that top 10, be in the Fasting World Championships, and try and shake things up. And yeah, you mentioned Isaiah Vidal. He's not someone that we've seen here in DEKA Fit yet, but nearly a decade of dominance, in the OCR space,
very well
specifically in stadium races, which is probably what translates the most in terms of, similarity of event and just the type of movement. And it's been a while since we've seen him, in a more running-based event. So certainly is going to be strong on the stations. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Does he stick himself up there at front, or does he understand that, okay, maybe my pure running ability isn't on the level of a VJ or a Nick Ryker or an Isaac? Am I going to own thing and make up some time later on, whether it's assault bike or other, how that goes?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've mentioned this in prior races before and everything. The first 3 stations, everyone's going to group together. The field is, or everyone is so diverse now into this in DEKA and hybrid racing stations. Everyone's going to be relatively close, and then from 4 to all the way, then you'll start seeing who the podium contenders are, and then of course from 8 to 10 will then pretty much well determine who the top 3 are. You might get that one wild card there at the end. So it'll be interesting, like you mentioned, of course, to see how Isaiah's running is to stay up to get onto those stations, because I'm sure he might have the top assault bike time. Granted, just throwing out there from his experience with CrossFit, of course, is this time enough to keep him up with all the other contenders. And the same applies to Camila and Alex. But the thing about Alex Walker is I would say she's probably one of the fastest on foot out here. I spoke with her earlier as well. she doesn't classify herself as a hybrid runner at all. However, her fitness level is through the roof, and the fact that she's fit that can translate to any type of sport that definitely involves running, she's one to watch for a podium contender as well.
Yeah, she's been training in the hills and mountains in Texas for the entire summer, so she certainly has a lot of fitness built up, and it's just about translating that indoor intensity. We mentioned at the top that this is the race of the series, and obviously we've talked a lot about sort of the top contenders in the field, but something else to pay attention to are the cutoff times for that top 20. Because coming in, some athletes that we haven't even mentioned on the broadcast yet in these last 10 minutes are going to be those fighting for that 5th, 6th, 7th place finish today, and potentially putting themselves in a good position to call that last time out in Philadelphia, where, yes, Meg broke the world record. Vivian had a tremendous performance as well. But then we saw 7 or 8 athletes all in a pack, pretty much all of them coming in inside of that top 20 after the results were processed. And looking at those times right now, the current cutoff for the top 20 for men is 32:07. That's John Clark. And for women, it's 36:13, Carrie Nakuda. And so we assume the race winners are going to be well under those times, but pay attention 2-3 minutes later.
Absolutely.
Assume the race winners are going to be well under those times, but pay attention, hey, at least 3 minutes later.
Absolutely. Because that's when some athletes can really put themselves in position to, hey, at least get in the race.
Absolutely. Podium is always contention when you're racing as a competitor, right? You always want to win, and you always want to do well.
Podium is always
today is a time trial.
When you're racing as a competitor, right? You always want to win, and you always want to do well.
However, today is a time trial for the World Champs.
Just because you're not in first place, you're on that 7 doesn't mean that you still don't have time to qualify for the World Championship. Your time matters, and if you're on that,
then you need to continue to do so. Don't stray away from the pack knowing that podium's out of contention. There's no way I'm going to contend. If you're still within that 32:07, 36:17,
there's no way I'm going to contend.
Either way, if you're
still within that 32:07,
still go strike forward.
But either way, if you're within that
36:13,
still go strike forward.
Once we get to 35 minutes, pay attention because that's when athletes are winning. Once we get to 35 minutes, pay attention because that's when athletes are to get in the burpee.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to finish, in that minute or so to get in that time. So here, we're just about ready. We've had the national anthem. As we get set to men's race, that'll kick things off. And I see Meg Jacoby starting her warm-up running by us now. So she'll be getting ready to go in about 35 or 40 minutes or so.
I believe they're announcing out. Oh, Johnny Marr. Didn't know Johnny made it out here. All right. Good old Texas boy. I think Mark Falcone is also in that. Oh, Dustin Needman also today making an appearance.
And these are some guys who right now they're sitting outside that top 20, but this is the type of athlete who just could make something happen today and potentially, take 90 seconds off their time if they execute, if there's a competitive field to drag them forward.
Oh,
there's Kevin Gregory and the
Bubbles running elite today.
Shirt. Certainly someone who's going to make noise on the station.
Okay, I said Isaiah's going to have the top assault bike time. I changed my mind. It's going to be Kevin Gregory now. Noel Medea, also local Florida guy, will do pretty well today as well.
Yeah, Noel trains out at Get It Core Fitness in my neck of the woods, about 15 minutes away from where I live in Jacksonville. So he's another guy that
right? Yeah.
Mr. Sweatcheck himself.
Yeah, Sweatcheck.
In the mix, that's for sure.
There's Isaiah. Probably the biggest dark horse to this sport right now, just based off name.
Yeah, Isaiah Vidal's got a 2004 DEKA on a 1228 DEKA song. You'd have to think he's capable of much better than
Absolutely.
That.
I believe that's Glenn Race. Glenn Race making his way all the way from California. again, looking to get in that top 20 qualifying time as well. No old man Glenn appearance today, it seems like.
There's Isaac Sanderson. You can identify him by the heart rate monitor that he wore last time. He put him down a 31.06 in his DEKA FIT debut. 9th place overall coming into today.
Got Nick Ryker. Nick Ryker, that I should have mentioned before, he is the only competitor in DEKA. He is 3 for 3 in all of his races he has done on the podium as well. 1 win and 2 second places. Ryker out for any podium contention in DEKA, you'd be a fool to do so right now. He has my vote for male MVP of DEKA this year.
And there's VJ Jones, 30.07 coming in, 4th place this year. Expect him to make a push for sub 30 because he knows he's going to be on the start line in Dallas. But I think he wants to make a statement coming in with that 29 or maybe even 28 to his name.
100%. All right, Xander, who do you have? What's your podium pick?
You know what? It's boring, but I'm going to say VJ. I'm going to say, and then Isaac.
Yeah, I like it. That's exactly what I'm going to say as well, too. It's always fun to pick that wild card, right? But look for Isaiah and maybe Glenn to fight for that 3rd spot. But I think you stand corrected. I think it's going to be exactly that. VJ and Nick, I think both are going to go under sub 30. Isaac did tell me he is looking to run this much faster on his running. I would not be surprised if he goes low 30s today in this race as well.
So here we go. We are just seconds away from the start here in the 7th and final regular season race, DEKA FIT Orlando Fitness Festival here at this convention center. It's going to be an electric atmosphere getting started early in the morning with DEKA FIT. And our men's elite wave is just moments away as the start line is getting guys fired up, and we are off. So VJ Jones things out, but there's a look at VJ Jones. Always has great, comfortable-looking stride. You can never really tell how hard he's working, especially early on.
You're not wrong. His running form, I mentioned this back in SoCal, he's like a gazelle. He just hops into his run. And like you mentioned, I mean, he could be running a 4:30, 5-minute pace right now, but he looks so comfortable.
Benefit of our on-site setup, a couple of stations from the turns. That's nice to follow, as these athletes get out on the run. So right now, DJ 1, Isaac 2, Nick 3.
I'll be interested to see. I think Isaac's strategy when it comes to this, he wants to run hard during this run. He mentioned he didn't run hard enough last time. So, but then again, I don't know how diverse he is in the stations. If running harder will either pay the price later for that, or if there be more general fatigue. I think as far as from a pure foot runner, he's got to be, if not the fastest or the second fastest behind me.
And it might be a situation where, okay, he might have taken it more conservative on the run last time. He's going to go more aggressive today, figure out what happens, and kind of dial it in sort of on one extreme to the other.
Absolutely, yeah. At every DEKA race that you do, it's all experience, right? So if you have a strategy, use it now, because at World Championships, you only got one go at it on how well you're going to do. So it matters now of what strategy you're going to pick to do.
So here's the first of 10 zones, 30 reps of a weighted alternating reverse lunge, 55 pounds. As we expected, the entire field in here together. It was VJ, Isaac, and you can see VJ in the light on the top, taking the light short, and Isaac there.
Nick says in order to break 30, he just simply said, I need to run faster, do the stations faster. If he wants to do it faster, all he has to do is feed off that gentleman in the blue tank top right next to him, being VJ Jones. And it looks like Isaac is out in front right now. So he's looking to take it out high.
Yeah, the three of them are packed up, and that's the kind of setup that could lead to fast times here coming into the end. They have a dog so there's no man to the ship, but
This is going to be very interesting to watch because when you have a pack like this is what formulates those fast. You feed off each other, and then you know each other has a goal in mind to do that, right? So therefore, you just ricochet off each other and just keep that energy. I very well could see Isaac breaking 30 as well too, man. This is going to be very exciting to watch.
If he's not in first, isn't somebody very much here in DEKA FIT, but right now I think it's out in front to see some of the athletes a little bit further back on their second run as well.
Yeah, VJ could be playing a little bit more conservative on the runs, maybe. I mean, his 5K, I think when it comes to his running capabilities, he knows he splits. He'll be fine. And I already stated before, he ran a very fast 5K in SoCal. I think it was 17:23 to be exact. So it isn't the running that he needs to improve. The station time, 7 seconds, even the transition time, honestly. Just 7 seconds. So I think he's going to hit the station just a little bit harder, and those transition zones a little bit harder as well.
So here we go. Top athletes are on the road. You can see Isaac already on the. Wow. And Meg Ryker at 140 as well. So the pace has been set, and it's definitely on the high.
You know, and there's not a lot of pressure coming into this race. Like I said, you want to win the race. However, there's not a lot of pressure because they have solidified their shot at the World Championship. So it's not like if they were to go up today by any means that they're going to miss out on the World Championships. So I think that's what their intention is, honestly, because these rowing splits are fast as well. These running splits are fast. They're looking to blow up and hurt early, and then they're saying, well, if they get to the assault bike and they just don't have what it takes to get maybe a world record or sub 30, it is what it is. World Championships around the corner, and we'll just get their course. So they're here to put on the show for us today.
There's one race, someone we could see, you know, maybe if one of these top three packs into the race, maybe pick up the spot later on. There's Johnny Morris on their row as well, Kevin Ryker. Can't tell what he's splitting, but it's probably on.
I think this is where Isaiah Vidal starts making up a little bit of room, but I'm going to be honest, it looks like it's going to be a rush race today. Ryker and Jones, they are running 500 meters very fast. I don't know if Isaiah has what it takes to 500 meters. But then again, it's a long race. It's only at the beginning. We're only on station 2 with Isaac taking it out. Wow. All right.
Isaac Sanderson opening up a little bit of a gap here into the scene. The low splits once those are available. Definitely seems like he's put a little bit more distance in between himself, Meg Ryker, and DJ Jones. Isaiah Vidal is going to be doing this one the hard way. He is all right now in fourth place, but well back in this top three.
Yeah, not beating off the runs is pretty hard when you find yourself in no man's land for sure. However, like I said, he's going to inch a little more each and every time on the station, just bigger builds, stronger, but he's going to have to find his own himself on these runs.
Do you want to see more DEKA and OCR races live streamed this year? Support the sport and become an OCR reporter. You can almost live stream races like this every single week. As the OCR reporter. Come from today.
Wow, the front pack men are already closing in on the backpack of the first. These fellas are not here to play today, man. This is exciting. What is the world record? Are not here to play. I can't think off the top of my head. We're talking about sub 30. A world record could happen off the top of my head. We're talking about sub 30. A world record could happen.
About 7.5 minutes within this race. I believe Robin Shattuck's 28.
28. All right. Wow. Okay.
Well, there it is. Isaiah Vidal.
Yeah. Well, look at Isaac Sanderson's time. Wow. He also hit a 147. But no surprise, of course, Isaiah with one of the faster row times. But Isaac Sanderson hitting it hard with that row. And Nick Ryker just 2 seconds behind that as well. Well, and VJ 150.
VJ 150, yeah. So I think the timing threw us off initially there just with the order that these guys are in. But, yeah, those top three all rowing really fast, all right together.
So I don't rest my case on that. Isaiah is not good. It doesn't seem to be making any ground on the stations as of right now. These fellas are hitting it hard.
Here's the mid-pack still on their box steppers. These are guys that are potentially going to be fighting for that top 20 cutoff, depending on where they're at later in this race.
It's also exciting. I know we always play the cameras on the podium contenders because we always want to see who is going to win the races. But these races outside of that mid-pack elite, the guys who are even going in the second heat as well, you know, like you mentioned, all trying to qualify that last few minutes, trying to get those last few minutes off to qualify for World Championships. Always excited to watch that as well.
Yeah, you see Kevin Gregory there, an absolute powerhouse in DEKA Strong and DEKA Mile, sticking himself in DEKA FIT here today.
And it looks like Nick Ryker out in front, Isaac in second, BJ in third. They are all still within a couple seconds of each other. This race is going to come down to the burpees, man. It really is. No assault bike is going to separate them. These guys, wow, 33 seconds, all of them. Yeah. If we wanted a perfect scenario for a world record today, I think we found one.
And they're now intermixed within kind of the back of the pack, one lap down. As you can see, BJ there on the turn. Again, in the midst of the snap, well in front.
Here we go into the setups.
Our top three all on the dead ball sit-ups. Oh. You know, Nick Ryker with a little bit of a fumble at the end.
Wasn't sure there with the glitch if he maybe picked up the wrong ball or, yeah, as you can see the sweat stains on the medicine ball, where if he had the female weight there for a bit. I hope that doesn't cost him a few seconds as far as for contention today.
Yeah, it's 20 pounds for the men, 14 for the women. You see they have one of each set up just to make it easier, you know, especially later on in the day when there's, you know, all athletes sort of mixed in together. Glenn Race coming in fourth.
All right.
Another athlete right by him.
Glenn?
Looks like Isaiah's lost a little bit of time relative to some of those other guys as Nick and Isaac come out right next to each other with VJ just a couple of seconds back.
Glenn, I believe, needs to cut off a whole minute to qualify, if I'm not mistaken. But, man, he knows he has to hit it hard as well, too. What better way to feed off than these three in front of him right now?
Yeah, Glenn's PR is under that cutoff, but this year his fastest time is 33:33. So
okay, so yeah.
About 9 seconds.
That's huge.
Doing it 100%. He's right there in the pack with Isaiah Vidal and a couple of other athletes. So as we get toward that point of the race, having multiple competitors even in the mid-pack can definitely help you, cut 45, 60 seconds off your time.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've seen it be done before. It's definitely doable. It's not that it's not. And then, of course, just feeding off a couple people on the runs as well, too, right? And then, of course, just feeding off, looks like Isaiah said, now behind. As Nick Ryker and Isaac and BJ are making their way to the last Isaiah. Wow, these fellows are killing it right now. And they're looking smooth. Of course, we're on site, guys, so we see them run past us every 90 seconds or so, and their running form just still looks strong. Man, they're killing it.
So that's four skins separated in the top three, and it's really just a gap between second and third. And I think Ryker has separated in the top three, and it's at the same time coming out of station 4.
I'm gonna be honest. Normally, I have a guess as far as which station might separate in first or second or third back days. These guys are so equal right now. I think the big difference is their 5K split. Who's just going to be the faster runner today? Which I think that's exciting because when it comes to hybrid racing, normally it's the station. I think that's separating a lot of people. So making it a runner game today, I think makes it.
And that's the question, right? You got the three of them running together right now. Are they all three kind of deserving to be developed, or is one of them bad?
Right.
They're all such skilled runners that that's not necessarily something you can tell just by body type.
Absolutely.
You know what DJ can do. You know what Nick can do. All these racing was on Isaac last week, but you know Isaac definitely last time. The fight. Those final three runs.
Right.
But one of the things we have are they all running in the line right now?
Absolutely. Who's going to be digging harder in the pain cave when that pain cave comes, right? So.
Sedation 5, the skier, DJ there. He's quite jealous, but
which is respectful right now. If you don't want to go too hard. I'm sure they could do a sub 150 if they really wanted to. But they know it's only the way through the race. If he still gets rid of the crowd, then they know they can do it at the other stations. I wonder where Nick Ryker's confidence level is right going ahead of BJ. But then again, is BJ wanting to play rapid? We've seen him before at SoCal. He had such a big gap he had no one to run with. He's trying to run it by himself. And when he do, he's trying to gear it up just a little bit, but just found himself a little too out of ran out of time. Oh, well, he just took over my eyes. They got to get all three stationed together. But I wonder if BJ wants to play rabbit today to hope feed off some more of them as well, opposed to trying to go out all by himself.
So it looks like our top three are once again just about the same time. BJ and Isaac running stride for stride right now, and as BJ running by our broadcast, puts himself, I don't know, maybe 2 meters ahead with Nick Ryker, just 2 or 3 seconds behind those guys.
So much for rabbit chasing right now.
Halfway into the race, we're at 15 minutes. We're still all in striking distance of each other.
I wish I knew everyone's strategy. I wish we had it laid out in front of us so they could say, hey, Luke Sander, I'm making my move at the farmer carrier. I'm making my move at the assault bike, right? So that way we can express to you guys. So we have no idea. So this very well could have been BJ's plan all along. First 5 stations, take it conservative, run behind them. Now, time to say between real men and the boys here, right? So this could be making his move right here.
Also, 14:30 coming out of Skier, and you can't exactly say, okay, divide the state or divide the time by 10, and that's your station and run time, because there's so much variance in how long each station takes. They are effectively more than halfway through this race on sub 30 pace, and we'll see how this unfolds.
Yeah, this could be exciting. This is I don't know the sub 30 split where they need to be exactly when they come off the skier, of course. But it'll be interesting to see where the assault bike lies, because we all know assault bike station where is what makes or breaks all athletes. Do they put up a conservative 145, 130, 145 is 2 minutes, or do they crank it hard and give it everything they got and just see if they can hold them for the ride afterwards?
Yeah, all right around that 2-minute mark, including, again, transition time on the skier. So they were probably skiing around 150.
A little bit of a clash between Jay and Nick Ryker going around the turn on the farmer carry. Not visible, but that could have been pretty disastrous right there.
So here we are at Station 6. BJ Hill a half step in front of Nick Ryker with Isaac Sanderson just behind, and they're out. They continue to lap these other competitors.
These 3 competitors need to go. They need to know what it feels like, because the world record, or I'm sorry, not the world record, I'm sorry, the world championships will be under 30 minutes. The world champion is going to be crowned and possibly in December. The competition itself, there is 1 minute time 32. You need to go sub 30. So these fellas need to get a taste of what it's going to feel like, and today's the day to do it.
Yeah, there are 5 athletes who have fallen on sub 30 in the last 2 years. None of them are in the race today. So that's assuming all of them are fit and ready to go. And I know Rylan Shattuck's been dealing with some injury issues, but certainly fit, because we saw what he did strong at DEKA Mile. So if he can, if he's able to get the running under him heading into World Championship, that's 5 guys that all have faster times. Now, any of these 3 athletes, DJ and Isaac, they can certainly put themselves in the mix and compete, and potentially any of them, but the field is going to be much deeper at World Championships. So you're 100%. Right. If you're going to have to push for sub 29 at Worlds, well, you got to have a sub 30 in the bank to give yourself that confidence.
Yep. And now's the time to do it, because, of course, you're competing now, and then you got a couple months of training work to make up a couple of seconds here or there.
And the level these athletes are at, the difference between a 31 minute and a 30 is not in terms of effort, right?
It is.
Because they're so good at managing their effort, riding that line and not tipping over, that when they do push, another notch or 2 up, you really feel it. And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes as Nick Ryker and BJ Jones continue.
And I believe they're the first 2 ahead at the moment. I didn't Isaac pass, but all right, here comes the assault bike.
I think Isaac was a few seconds behind them coming up Farmers. Okay. So we should see him here on the bike.
Yeah,
with those other 2.
Yeah, right next to Nick Ryker. All right, this station right here, if it's going to separate the 3 just a little bit more, I believe this is the station that will do it. They're all very similar body build, a little bit more muscular. He might have that slight advantage, but no one is like an Isaiah build or a Bubbles build.
Yeah, BJ's a little bit taller, Nick's a little bit more muscular, but yeah, that really stands out at front. So I think it's just a matter of effort, will, and strategy. Because the harder you go on this, the more compromised you are for the rest. But it maybe they can pick up 10 seconds here.
Absolutely. All right, I want to see how much someone wants to hurt today. You see it on BJ's face right now. He's feeling it. The teeth are out. He's been posting about he wants to hurt today. Let's see it, BJ. Come on, man. Dig deep, man. Dig deep. We all want to see sub 30 today. We all want to see excited, right? So let's put on a show for the people.
Definitely looks like BJ's putting a little bit more
Nick
of his
Ryker
upper body
out.
into it. Nick Ryker is out.
Wow, and Isaac right behind.
And here comes BJ. So all 3 of them still within position of each other here now with 3 runs and 3 stations left.
Man, you can never count Nick Ryker out anything. The last DEKA FIT that we announced in Philly, I didn't even have him on the podium, and I regretted that decision the second he made it. I should have known better. Now, not only podium contention, but potential first place. And he's looking smooth right now. His gait just a little bit slower. Just, of course, he hit it hard on the assault bike, as expected. But, man, Nick Ryker putting on a show. There's Isaiah crushing that bike. Look at Yancey's face. He looks scared. I want to Bubbles assault bike time. That's really what I want to see right now.
We should see that split when it comes up here in a little bit. But for now, again, Nick Ryker, you see on the inset, currently leading this race, 21 minutes in. And coming into dead ball overs, which is really a chance for your heart rate to come down a little bit, because there's only so fast you can move on the dead ball station, because you have to walk around the structure every single rep.
Wow.
So even if his gait's been a little bit off, 55 seconds for Nick.
Wow.
Incredible. Look at that. Make 30 seconds on BJ Jones and
20 seconds on Isaac. That's huge. What a move from Nick Ryker. Not to cut you off on the over the walls. That's huge. I'm here to make a statement type move, going sub-minute. Now let's just see, of course, if that pays off or not. I think that he knows going into this that was his strategy. So I'll be interested to see where he's going to be on these next. Like you mentioned, heart rate will go down on station just slightly, but is that fatigue on the legs going to cost him here at the end?
Only a 108 for Isaiah Vidal. I think that's to put in perspective the effort that Nick Ryker put out on that bike, because Isaac with a solid 115 and Isaiah comfortably the second fastest bike, but Nick on another level here in today's race. Now again, our top 3 are all into dead ball overs.
That was phenomenal. That was awesome. And I wish they would have put the assault bike station right in front of us so we could just feed that. But man, that's super impressive from Nick Ryker. I mean, 5 seconds here or there, not the biggest, but man, 20, that's huge. Isaac and VJ are going to really have to dig deep on these last few stations if they are going to want to catch up to Nick Ryker right now.
Looks like Isaac has ditched the heart rate monitor, so maybe he didn't like what it was him. He's just going to go for it these last couple of runs. But here comes Nick Ryker, our race leader. You can see the effort on his face, but he is still moving. Knows that he only has 2 runs and 2 stations to go.
7 minutes to break 30. Will he be able to do it today? He's got to keep up these running splits. He can't back off now.
Have you run a DEKA yet? Check out DEKA.fit for a local DEKA event near you. There are hundreds to choose from. That is DEKA.fit. If you're looking to qualify for World Championship your age group in the mile or the strong, you've got another week to do it. Time goes through next weekend, and I know a lot of facilities are going to be hosting kind of last chance qualifiers in the stronger mile. So if you're watching today, you won by your hand, there may not be a DEKA fit, but you can try the mile or strong. Most likely, within an hour or 2 drive if you're in a pretty big metro area.
I have a feeling the last weekend all pure chaos. There's going to be so many gyms. In fact, myself, I work roadshow coordinator for the Southwest region for DEKA. And I have one set up as well, too, to be grabbing that final top 20 positions to qualify for World Championships next week. Yeah.
So Nick Ryker with about a 25-second lead on both BJ Jones and Isaac Sanderson coming out of dead ball. You see Nick on screen here in the light blue shorts, making his way around, coming into the tank push and pull, which is
25 seconds is a very comfortable lead. However, finding himself in no slam running by himself, this is where he needs to know that we're still breathing down his neck and right behind him by a turn. So he can't let off the gas pedal right now, and he's going to come in right in front of us for the tank.
Yeah, we have a perfect view here on the tank push and pull. So
if I were to say out of these 3, of the top 3, I would say Nick Ryker has the advantage on the sled. Probably stronger athlete, so I don't think there will be any leeway as far as Isaac and VJ making any room, but it looks like VJ made up a little bit of a gap in the run, however, and Isaac, of course, shortly behind VJ.
So VJ about 1 behind Nick, as VJ got started pretty much right as Nick got to the end on his first push, and you see Nick and Isaac are sort of in the same position, but Isaac is a full push and pull behind. So right now, VJ Jones in 2nd place on his first of 5 pulls. And Nick Ryker in the middle is our first place athlete, Isaac Sanderson in 3rd. This is our top 3, barring someone completely imploding on burpees. This should be the podium today with the way that these guys ran this race and pulled right the field.
Absolutely. I think we solidified our top 3 spots. It's now not so much of a matter of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Honestly, I'll be proud of all these fellas for doing it. I want to see if all 3 of them can break 30, though. They're cutting it close, but they are within range. And Nick Ryker definitely in striking distance. If he can get out of this 26:30, he's breaking 30 for sure. And I believe he's on his 4th push and pull. If all of these fellas can get out in about 27 minutes, they'll have a shot. 100 meters take them, I don't know, minute 30, minute 40. And look at Glenn right here as well, too.
Yeah, Glenn was our 4th athlete into this zone. He certainly pulled himself over the rest of the pack. There is another competitor next to Glenn in here as well, but Glenn Race making a push. We're talking about sub 30, but remember, it's going to tough for men to get in the top 20, and Glenn certainly has a chance at that.
All right, Nick Ryker on his final pull. We have
said
BJ
27 minutes. It's going to be about 26:55 when Nick finishes.
I think 27 gives him plenty. Yeah, he's got to hit this run hard.
Nick Ryker is out. BJ Jones is just a couple of seconds behind him as he's sort of. Oh no, he has one more.
One more. All right, this is number 4, BJ. So he's still got this. He's got to. It's still doable. I don't want to count out because you can still go. You can go sub 60 seconds on the burpees if you really sell your soul to it. So it is very possible still. But Nick Ryker, as long as he gets into the burpee pit around 28:40, 28:30, Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was VJ's fifth.
Came out in second. Isaac Sanderson made up time on VJ Jones on the tank push and pull. So Nick Ryker still in first. You see him on the inset screen. The main view is some of the athletes on the tank push and pull. But Nick Ryker is on his final run. Again, he's run in the 30-20s multiple times. He's got a great chance at coming in under that and still has the shot of 30. Nick Ryker has put the hammer down in the second half of this race.
Wow.
Made his move on the assault bike.
Wow.
Maintains that 25-second lead. And then Isaac 6 seconds ahead of VJ Jones heading to the last run.
Come on, Nick. Come on, man. Let's see it. All right, no world record today, but that's okay. Let's see it, buddy. Get in there. Get in there and just hit them hard.
30-29 is the PR for Nick Ryker. Comes into today sitting in 5th place overall.
Wow, and Glenn Race also, I know off screen, is out of the tanks as well. You said his previous best time, 32:07. Glenn, man, what a huge PR today if he as long as he stays committed with this run in the burpees. All right, here comes. He's got just over a minute. Very possible. Come on, Nick.
So we'll see what Nick Ryker has left. He's got a little bit less than 20 ram burpees up and down, trying to get to that sub-30. He's going to PR today.
He is going to PR today,
30-29 was his personal best coming in, and he's got an outside shot at sub-30. So here is Isaac Sanderson comes in 2nd place, and VJ Jones right behind him.
Wow. Coming down to the burpees. Wow, let's see how fast these fellas can do it. Come on, Nick. Come on, buddy.
Less than 10 reps left for Nick Ryker. He's got 15 seconds of 30, but he's got 45 seconds to get under his PR. Isaac Sanderson and VJ Jones in 2nd and 3rd.
I'm not sure which count. He's got to be close. He's cutting it close.
Doesn't look like Nick is going to get sub-30, but that doesn't take anything away from the effort he has put in today. Has just a few reps left. I don't count.
I believe. Yep.
And there
Nick Ryker. Wow.
Unofficially 30-12 comes away with the win.
Wow.
Here in the season finale, about 15 seconds is best.
Wow.
Isaac Sanderson makes a statement. He takes
huge PR for Isaac too. Wow.
31:06.
And VJ.
And here is VJ Jones under 30.
And look at
Glenn Race. So we talked about 32:07 is the cutoff. And Glenn Race is the one athlete other than our top 3 who has a chance to get under that.
Oh, come on, Glenn. And this athlete as well too.
Chaz Hackman looks like he's got a chance as well.
Yeah, I wonder if Chaz is right outside the top 20. Wow, Nick Ryker statement win. Like I said before the race, he is my male DEKA FIT MVP this season, just based off the stats alone. And this just solidified it even more. 4, 2 wins, 2 second places. Nick Ryker, it's hard to argue. He might not have the fastest time going into the World Championships, but it's hard to argue that Nick Ryker isn't going to be the favorite for World Championships right now. If his strategy is to take it out like he did there and leave the fellas behind on the bike. Wow. Amazing performance. And amazing performance behind Isaac Sanderson as well, too. Second only DEKA FIT race, and he took a whole off his time. Low 30s like I predicted. And there's Glenn. Wow.
So Glenn Race well in under. So 5 athletes under the cutoff
Isaiah,
of 32:07. And Isaiah,
I'm not sure where he is on the burpee count. He's going to be cutting it close unless he just came in.
You can see the engine of Vidal on display in the far part of the screen with how fast he's moving. But I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get under that 32:07. But still a solid debut. Vidal sort of ran his own race today.
That might Connor, I believe. Connor. Yeah, not bad for Isaiah for the first time. Granted, someone who's specializes in CrossFit and other diverse things. There's so many hybrid type races, right? if you want to be good at a race and be one of the top contenders, you have to specialize in it, or else you're just not going to be one of the competitors. Isaiah is a threat in any race that he goes to, and he's a very well-respected athlete. But of course, great performance from today. We won't see him at the World Championships. Maybe in the longer mile if he decides next weekend in the DEKA FIT though. But still, amazing performance nonetheless.
And we got some other athletes. We got Johnny Mares with a few reps to go. Noel Medina in here as well. These guys down in this.
Oh no, Mattia, sweat check 5, shaking his head. So these fellows will not make it in the qualifications as well too. But still showing up today, putting on a great performance, great show for all the viewers and spectators. It's always fun when you see people who come to these events live, and even children as well, too, the kids, right? They see us as superstars, and it's awesome because you can motivate them and inspire them to do so, you know. And that's all you can do is just put on a smile for them, put on a show, and have our future, right? Right? We want the racing, hybrid racing is it's brand new, it's just taken off. So the roof is not the limit by any means when it comes to potential here, and the future is, you know, bright while what they watch on all the other spectators today, or the competitors today.
Mares took about 15 seconds off of his best time. He came with a 33.55. He gets a 33.42 unofficially. A solid effort from him. Noel Medina in there. And we got Dustin Needham, Kevin Gregory, and some others finishing up as well.
So we got the third elite men's heat going off at the moment. So I believe once they are shortly into probably the row or box rower, I believe the women then will start. We have normally they're not used to 3 heats of men, so this is a little bit new. Wow, Nick Ryker, that was awesome. I'm so proud of him. He killed it. Might not have been sub 30, and that's okay. It's still a PR nonetheless. And then also too, he's got the feeling of what it might take to go sub 30, because we know Ryan Kent, Rylan Shadegg, and Rich Ryan and Dylan Scott are all going to be pushing that type of pace. So Nick Ryker now has a couple of months to specialize into this type of training. But man, hard to argue that he's not the top dog. Like I said, even with time, man, he's a winner. He is a winner.
And he's raced a little bit more often than some of the other top men, at least this season. He faced off against Violent season opener in Austin.
Right.
He faced off against David Nikita and Dylan Scott a couple of weeks ago in Philly. And Rich Ryan was in that race as well. So he hasn't squared off against Ryan Kent in taking on DJ today. So as he's walking over toward us right now.
That's what I'm talking about,
Ryker.
Man. Hey, MVP.
But Nick Ryker's, yeah, he's still fired up. That was probably the hardest high five I've gotten in a while. You see the men here cooling off after their race. Johnny, Glenn.
I wonder if we can get Nick in for an interview real quick before the women go off. He's currently getting there. I'll be happy to let him take my spot so we can ask him a couple questions. Nick did say, though, when I spoke with him a couple of days ago, he doesn't see himself as a tier 1. And, you know, as far as might get to the World Championships, I think he's still going to be ranked 4th or 5th, right? Man, it's hard that he's not, though. I mean, the statistics speak for themselves based off his finishes. And here he comes over here. We're going to try to get him in for an interview. Nick, interview? Yeah. All right, buddy. 55 seconds. 55. Yeah. All right, buddy. Come around here. I'll let you take my spot. All right.
So we're going to be joined here momentarily by Nick Ryker, who's making his way around the table into our broadcast position.
Hey, Xander.
Hey. So, Nick, thrown down a couple of times this year. 15 seconds or so faster than last time. Yourself in the mix. I mean, what was your plan going into it?
Yeah, it was all about being tougher. I've really been held back at some races this year, which is fine because I don't really care about the time. I care about competing and winning. And today I thought if I could just go a little harder with BJ. I mean, literally one of the greatest Spartan races of all time. And I don't care about the time. I just care about competing. And I beat him. I beat Isaiah Samerson. I beat Isaiah Vidal. Like, that's huge. Like, that was my plan. Come here and care about time.
Yeah, the three of you were pretty much packed up throughout most of the race, you know, kind of going back and forth a second or two here or there. And then the bike is really when you made your move.
Yeah.
Were you targeting that coming
today? I knew if I was near the lead or in the lead, I can outbike just about anybody besides Ryan Kidd in the DEKA FIT. Like, I put a lot of time in there. Those last 4 stations, I take a lot of pride in. And I just knew if I hung around, like, if they beat me on the bike, like, hats off to them, because I know I'm going to do sub 50 on the bike. Like, hats off to them, they can beat me, but I was super confident going into it.
And I feel like, you know, you have to, I think in the back of your mind, you know, you probably wanted to get that sub 30, but you've thrown down against pretty much everybody that we expect to be sort of in the front of the race in Dallas. You know, what kind of confidence do you have, you know, having gone up against just about everyone who you're going to see there?
It's a ton of confidence. Like, yeah, there's people that have ran sub 29 and low 29s, but it's hard to do that on race day just to be your best. And I know on race day, if I can give my best, if I can compete every station, every run, I'm going to be there with the top guys. It doesn't matter the time. Like, it's going to be there. I'm here to compete. So it gives me a ton of confidence. Come down here, get one more podium, get another W under my belt. It's huge right now.
And now you've got almost 3 months to get ready. So first weekend of December, a lot of time to get back to the lab and try and, you know, 45 seconds or whatever you might need.
Yeah. And also, it's like, maybe I don't even need to. Like, if maybe people are just not on their game that day and I'm on my game. Like, you can't think about the time. I feel like you just got to think about competing well.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, times are one thing, but it's not a time trial, it's a race.
Yeah.
I've seen you on the podium, the win today. So great job, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Xander. Thank you, Luke. You guys are the best. You guys are a great duo up here.
Awesome. Well, that's Nick Ryker, everyone, as we are getting set now for the women's race. So nonstop action here. Luke, you mentioned that with the last men's heat out and running, we'd be a few minutes away from the start of the women's race, and I believe they're starting their call-outs now.
Oh, perfect.
We should be underway here momentarily.
We have Mark Falcone on screen right now. I believe he is the owner of iCore Fitness. I can't remember where that stayed out correctly. I remember competing against him in Austin, and he had back issues, so it's good to see him back out on course. I wonder if he's still on the mend from that. I can sympathize with that. Currently dealing with a herniated disc myself, so it's good to see people like that on the mend as well. So it's good to see people like that.
For the latest in hybrid fitness news, race results, and live race coverage, be sure to follow the OCR Report on Instagram. If you're looking for today's DEKA race results, follow at the OCR Report on Instagram today.
All right.
So we're starting to get our women's field assembled.
All right, Xander, who you got top 3 for women? I think we could be pretty standard as well in this one.
Yeah, I think, you know, as much as we talked about, you know, Alex Walker coming here to throw out a time, I think that just with what we've seen and how, you know, the top 4 with 3 of the 4 here today have separated themselves. I mean, I think it's going to be Meg and Tara in some order, and then Vivian in third. But look for all 3 of them to maybe take some time off what they've got so far.
Yeah, and you know, here's another exciting thing too. You have 3 competitors that are possible of going sub. What is it? 33 is 32
Meg
is the
and
world
Tara
record.
have gone 32, and
Yeah,
Vivian
so
is
30.
pretty
I guess you could say sub 33 is kind of their standard, right? As far as the top. But it looks like we only have one Megan, who is the only one that's under sub 33. So maybe sub 34, in other words. But these 3 women can definitely do it again. I think they all go sub 33 today, which that would put, Tara 34.04, but she has ran a faster time
Yeah, we're
prior.
looking at this year's leaderboard, and Tara's in 4th place with a 34.4 this year, and that was a race where I don't think she really had anyone to push her.
It was Knoxville. Yeah, she was by herself. Yeah.
As you see Tara Jackson there in the white top and green shorts.
Yeah, I think they all go sub 33. I do believe Meg Jacoby breaks her current world record now that she is familiar with the station itself. Like I said, look out for Camila, though, to make Alex Walker also for the podium. I think we can just say the top 3 is the 3 that are most experienced in this event. I got Megan in first with the world record again. Second, I'm going to say Vivian. I liked her performance last time. Man, third is such a toss-up. I think it's safe to say Tara just only because she's the world champion, and you can't count her out. Alex Camila, I'm so excited to watch them go against these type of tier athletes for women.
So there on the right side are who we expect to be three of the top competitors today. Again, Tara Jackson in the light up in green shorts, Meg Jacoby there in front with the American flag headbands, and Vivian standing right behind her, a bit of a taller athlete in all black. So we're just about to get underway here in our elite women's race, and they are off. So Meg Jacoby, Tara Jackson, Vivian Tafuto, Alex Walker, Camila Massa, someone else we haven't even mentioned. We'll see.
All right.
Right at the start, Alex is at least going to go out using her fitness and running ability to try and hang with Meg.
Absolutely, yeah. If there's anyone who can honestly run toe-to-toe with Meg running, it's Alex Walker for sure. But Meg is going to come out with the world record in mind today. She knows she's in the World Championships, obviously, as the #1 contender. So what else more to do other than just try to better your time, learn a little bit more techniques. I spoke with her earlier as well. She's going to try to get a little more experience from. However, go for the world record. What do you got to lose today, right? And there's Tara feeding off of her. Tara said that there's really kind of no such thing as going on a joyride with Megan because of how fast she is. But Tara knows she's going to have to feed off of her as much as she can, gain that experience going into World Championships, because that is the #1 threat coming into it with the based off her time.
Some similarities with Meg and Isaac Sanderson in that their first DEKA Fit was a couple of weeks ago. And so, you know, not a lot of time to really build fitness, but you can change your race strategy, right?
Absolutely.
You felt it. You know what it's going to be like 25 minutes in when you come off the assault bike, when you're heading into the tank push. And so, you know, fitness is one thing, but having felt the race, I think Meg, you know, knows what she's getting into.
Absolutely.
Even though she's clearly no stranger to hybrid racing as the High Rocks world record holder as well. But, you know, DEKA Fit is a little bit faster, it's a little bit sharper. And, you know, I'm excited to see how that experience of going through it once is going to affect her race plan. As we'd expect, all of our tires here on the lunges all together.
Yes. Yeah, everyone has a plan and they get punched in the face, right? Mike Tyson said it best. And that was everyone's kind of vague and, like you said, Isaac's plan as well, too. The first one, you can plan it as much as you want. You don't know what it's like until you actually compete it yourself. They have that underneath their belt now. They're still, we can say they're new, but we can't say they're a virgin to this by any means, right? So now it is all strategy-based, and they have to execute it if they want that time or placement today.
So Meg dropping the ram and is out well in front, and then we have Tara at the front of a pretty big pack of really 6 or 7. I saw Alex Walker in the mix there as well. A little bit Paris. And here's Meg Jacoby. She has to deal with a little bit of traffic from this second and third bench heat, but you know, a wide enough concourse here that hopefully she can pretty much run unencumbered.
Yeah, cool thing about here, this venue today, we're here at the Shuru Classic Expo. Man, it's got all sorts of fitness type things around here. So we're condensed over into the space over in the corner, but it's still the perfect layout for a DEKA. And man, it's just a cool atmosphere to be a part of right now.
Yeah, you could almost fit 2 or 3 DEKA fits within the space that we're in right now. You can really only see our corner of the building. But if you look way off in the distance, you know, there's some other fitness competition happening here at the same time. Maybe later today. I think that, you know, endurance sports tend to start earlier than all divisions, but
yeah,
it should be cranked up to a pretty good environment. And wow, already Meg putting in, you know, 4 seconds faster than anyone else on this first station.
Yeah, she has her own world record in mind today. She's chasing her ghost, I guess you could say, as far as that. And let's see, 32.7. Does she break 32 today is the question. Is it doable? Yes. But I think in order to do it, she's going to need that one other competitor that we all know that we love seeing her go against, Lauren Weeks, that is. And I think that will be done as World Championships. But I think she goes 32-15 today. It's going to be my guess.
And Meg's already got a pretty solid lead, but, you know, Ken, Tara, Vivian, Alex, some other athletes in the mix with them as well, put about 5 athletes together, the rower. Can they sort of work together, so to speak, and feed off each other and close the gap to Meg? Because, you know, it may turn into, as we saw last time, a bit of a time trial for Meg if she's well in front. So, you know, we'll see how that impacts. You know, we know it's possible for her to go sub-32, but as you were just talking about, she might need Lauren, Vivian, and Tara all in the race together with her. We obviously have 2 of those 3 today, and we'll see how it unfolds.
Absolutely. And if she goes too far ahead, of course, the other women can pack together and then feed off her to run a little bit faster as well. You know, does that pay off going a little bit faster ahead? But I think she has sub-32 in mind. Why go sub-32.27 when you can go sub-32? So I think she knows her splits that she needs to be at on each station and each run to execute it. And I believe she's just going to be the only one at the moment trying to break 32. And then Vivian, Camila, Alex, Tara, and a couple of other athletes that I'm not too familiar with, so I feeding off of that as well.
And we're still very early, but we were talking about at the start of the broadcast today that cutoff time of 36:13. The depth of this field, this is a situation where just like we saw in the Northeast race near Philadelphia a few weeks ago, this mid-pack could all pull themselves, you know, toward that 35-minute barrier. It's going to be
absolutely.
Clearly, we're excited to see what Meg and friends do at the top of this race, but, you know, keep an eye on, you know, it might be 2-3 minutes after Meg finishes, but it should be exciting. You know, we're going to have multiple athletes in the burpee zone all together trying to push under that 36-minute cutoff.
Absolutely. I wonder how many of these ladies in the first heat are just outside that cutoff time. So it's just because she has not raced one yet this year. So she is definitely going to be, I believe she is going to make a top 10 time today, if not top 5 potentially. But as far as the other ladies, I'm not too sure.
I believe Alex is the only one outside of the top 3, inside the top 20. Okay. 16.
Okay.
She has a 35.48. She's run faster last year, but Alex Walker is already in the top 20. Certainly looking to make a push for that top 10.
Yeah, and it's smart for her to race today, even though, like she mentioned, not much of a hybrid racer, so she's not in this scene all the time. But if she is wanting to compete at the World Championships, smart to come out here today, run a faster time, so that way you can secure a spot at the World Championships. 16 is kind of borderline. If you chose not to come, you know, all you need is 5 more ladies to come out here that could potentially beat your time. So it's very smart of her to come out here and do this.
So there's Meg Jacoby 7 minutes into this race on her 3rd run. Top 5, all very close together in terms of row time.
Yeah, everyone pretty close, so not too much separation. So I'm not sure the lady in the dark purple is in front of Vivian and Tara, if that's Shannon Payne or Lauren Griffin.
Based on the splits, it looks like Lauren Griffin, if I'm correct.
Oh, Shannon Payne's not even on there. I apologize. Yeah, Lauren Griffin, or yeah, that very well might be her. She's right now currently in 2nd. And she has 2 top 8 finishes in the Spartan 3K series this year. So, and she has no DEKA FIT time. So this is another dark horse, Sanders. So this could be exciting to see what she could potentially do. She could be very well our Isaac Sanderson for Orlando.
And Meg Jacoby just took a spill on the box step.
Oh no.
Showing on the video.
So those boxes aren't fixed to the ground, and she just tipped over to the right. So back up and at it, but we'll see if that affects her race at all, or at least her time.
So these ladies are going to be bunched together again in the first few stations. That's how it usually is. These next 3 stations afterwards, you should start seeing some separation a little bit. And then those last few stations are going to be who's first, second, and third. Camila right there. Okay, and Lauren. Wow.
So that is Lauren Griffith with Camila and Meg. And here comes Tara Jackson out in 4th, and Alex right behind her. So Alex Walker hanging in right behind Tara Jackson.
All right, Camila just made a very assertive on Megan Jacoby on the run. Wow, I know that off-season training for Camila has been amazing. I saw her in Colorado about a month ago. She is in amazing shape right now. She took a hiatus from running for a bit to really focus on her strength, which she thought was a weakness for her high rocks training. And man, she is just a monster, deadlifting over 300-something pounds, running a low 18-minute 5K. That's a recipe for being a top hybrid racer.
And you can see her absolutely flying by some of the men in the later heats. But Meg Jacoby and Lauren Griffith right there together in second and third.
All right.
I believe that's Tara in fourth and Alex in fifth.
Wow, okay. Lauren Griffith just made a pass on Jacoby as well, too. And Vivian not far behind. So Meg, unless she, of course, she comes to win, of course. I believe there's a prize payout, right? So money is on the table and here. You don't want to just make a trip all the way to Orlando and not get paid, of course, right? Definitely if you're a contender. However, maybe she's playing it smart right now. Maybe the other ladies are taking out hot. This is the last race in the series. Everyone's going to kind of take it out a little bit more hot than expected. You're excited. You have to. So let's see what type of strategy this plays off for all these ladies.
And Meg did still have the third fastest box step over time, even with that fall. So again, it's impossible to know exactly how much that's affected her, if at all. But she's certainly right in there. We see our top four are in on the sit-ups. And here comes Sarah Jackson in fifth and Alex Walker in sixth. So we have 6 athletes within about 30 seconds of each other here.
Well, throwing her mix into this, granted, no DEKA FIT time, so we didn't know prior, of course, as far as competition. But, man, she is solidifying herself as a top contender right now. This makes it very interesting. This top 6 is anyone's race right now. This is fun.
Camilla's up and out, and Meg right behind her. So
all right. All right, Camilla. Wow. This is awesome. This is good. I like seeing Megan in second right now because this shows that there is competition right now for Megan. She was so dominant with that race prior with the world record. This just shows that I don't know if she's hurt or not. You know, we don't know quite yet, but this just shows that there is competition out there, and it makes it just exciting for us viewers.
And it's competition outside of, top four that we talked about, as well as Michaela Norman and Chris Rogowski, all just above 34 minutes. But Camilla Massa is someone who only has one time on the board, or has a PR, I should say, of 37 minutes, but has been putting in the work and is certainly ready to throw down. And Lauren Griffith as well. So we talked about, Vivian, Meg, Lauren Weeks, and Tara as those, sub-33 capable athletes. Well, we've got 2 other competitors right in the mix with 3 of those 4 here. As you see, Vivian and Lauren hanging in there just a couple of seconds behind Meg.
Yeah, this is going to come down to the final stations again, Xander, which I think is awesome. In years past, it really doesn't do that. And so for it to do that now just shows that how much everyone's fitness has taken off. And this is exciting stuff. You got to apologize for my pauses, guys. They keep passing us. I just get with their running capabilities, and we're just trying to find out. It's a little different when we're doing this here in arena, right?
And it looks like Camilla is extending the lead just a little bit, using those long strides to her advantage. Again, still early. We're coming up on the halfway point. This is run number 5 heading into the spear.
So station times, not much difference, but it looks like she's asserting herself on the runs. Because the gap had to form somewhere, of course. But the ladies are all right there. So this is everybody. There's Luca cheering on Camilla, her husband.
You see Camilla on the right, Meg in the middle, Vivian on the left here on this screen. And Lauren Griffith on the other side of the station. Here's Tara Jackson in this zone as well.
There's 2 ladies races, the one in Philly and then the one today. is just a glimpse of what the World Championship is going to have to offer. This is exciting stuff. I wish we could say for the men's field we can have like all the men in every single race. However, that's not what plays out. You're dealt with the hand you're dealt with. But this is awesome to see 6 because I'm going to add Lauren into this. Lauren Griffith, she's an amazing athlete it seems. So seeing 6 of the potential top 20 that's going to be competing at the World Championships, it's going to be exciting to see how they gear up towards here at the end.
Yeah, you don't want to look past the second half of this race, but you think about adding Lauren Weeks, Chris Rogowski, Alondra Greenlee into this mix as well.
Right.
We've had a couple of European athletes as well in the top 10 if they come over. I mean, it's going to be absolutely epic in Dallas in December. But heading toward the end of the skier, again, Camila Massa in the light purple shorts is our current race leader.
Not sure what the paces are. I'm going to just go ahead and say Meg Jacoby slightly faster than probably the other lady. Now that she's playing rabbit and playing from behind, I wonder if this motivates her to go a little harder on the station as opposed to her previous strategy of what times that she may have in mind. It's different when you're in the lead, and it's different when you're playing behind. Definitely when you're still contending for first place.
So Camille out in first, but it looks like Meg has closed the gap, but Vivian actually comes out in second. So Vivian Tafuto snuck behind Meg there, and Lauren Griffith right behind her. So our top 4 are all still out within several seconds of each other, with Camila Massa, our first place competitor, comfortably in front at the moment.
Alex Walker still on the skier right here. As you can see, there's elite men still on the field, but these ladies are passing. Just shows their strength.
Isaac Sanderson, and I believe that was Nick Ryker standing with him. But here we go. Camila Massa in screen is our women's race leader.
Absolutely destroying it right now. Camilla is here to make a statement. I knew that she was going to for sure qualify for Worlds. I never doubted that one bit. But, man, for her to potentially win, I mean, I figured she'd be a podium threat for sure, but for maybe win, man, this is awesome. This is great. I'm very happy and proud of her. Now, granted, I know we're only 5 stations in, but she is separating herself from the pack. No Jacoby in sight at all at the moment. And I believe Vivian might still be in second. Here they come coming around to us. Maybe we could see. Yeah, Vivian not too far actually from. And it seems like Megan Jacoby falling off more and more on the runs. Again, we don't know. Maybe she could be hurting at the moment, side stitches. She has Lauren Griffith right behind her as well.
So Camila Massa into the farmer's carry. So Camila in first. Vivian is somewhat comfortably in second now, as you see her in the background coming in, with Megan Jacoby and Lauren Griffith pretty much stride in third and fourth at the moment.
Vivian right behind Camilla, feeding off that. Vivian,
the way the farmer's carry is set up, you get to see every time you turn, you can see where everyone's at. You wonder if Camilla's continuing to feed off the gap that she's making on the rest of the field right now. They're actually doing this farmer's carry, I just realized, right behind us. And we don't have a great view of the whole thing, but a much better look on screen here.
Meg might be behind at the moment, but never count her out of race. Never count her out. If it is like a certain side stitch at the moment, or if there's something going on, it very well could go away, and we know what type of gear she can switch into on her runs. So we will not count her out by any means, even though there's 4 stations left. She's killing it right now, Luca. Milla's husband just passed by. I believe that's her coach as well, too, her nutritionist. So he's been a great motivating factor for Camilla.
So on screen right now, Alex Walker, she's fallen a little bit behind in terms of the race leaders, and she's maybe 4 or 5 seconds behind Terry Jackson, but looks like she's putting in a pretty solid effort today and really solidifying herself. She's already qualified, being 16th overall right now, but there's a good chance that Alex can move up in and maybe sneak into the top 10, especially if not all of those European competitors come over, if there's a little bit of a roll down, and we'll see how that unfolds. But Camilla Massa back on screen. Again, not a lot of separation on the farmer's carry necessarily. You see all those times of our top 5 pretty close to each other, but even there, 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds that Camilla's giving everybody just goes to show the kind of race that she's having so far.
And it just adds on to every single station, Xander. So we have, she has come here for a purpose, and she is executing perfectly, and she knows the time trial nonetheless just to qualify. A win might have just been an icing on the cake for her, right? So this is very exciting to watch her do this. And going back to Asich mentioned too, I think Alex knew podium might have not have been in contention today, and which is okay, right? But she does need to have a faster time, so I'm hoping she does improve her time so she can qualify for Worlds as well.
And in front of us, you can see Lauren Griffith is putting in some time on Meg Jacoby, opening up a gap in 3rd place.
So a little mess up from Camilla. She ran right past Station 7. Vivian went in first. So technically, Vivian is in 1st place at the moment. And this is a new station for Camilla, the assault bike. Granted, she might train at the assault bike at her house or in her gym. However, as far as stations on High Rocks, that's not a station. So this might be that either she does really well at or puts her behind just ever so slightly. But Vivian, with that slight second going in, might just give Vivian an advantage now.
Vivian Tafuto currently in 2nd place in this year's leaderboard with a 33:20. Camilla Massa putting a time on the board today, has plenty of work to do, but has asserted her position from the beginning. As these are our top 2 competitors on screen right here.
And there's Lauren right there in the back. I couldn't see if Jacoby came in before her or not.
It looked like Lauren had put in some distance on Megan Jacoby coming in, at least when we saw them on the run right before the station. Meg is on the other side of this zone, so we can't really see her on screen right now.
Oh, yep. There we go. Okay, there they are.
You see there, Tara Jackson in the foreground, Megan Jacoby and Alex Walker in the background with another athlete in between.
We haven't seen much action from Tara on screen, but it seems like she's still within the mix of potentially getting the podium as well. It seems like it's a battle between, and there's Vivian going out first, between Megan, Tara, and Lauren for 3rd place today, it seems. All right, Vivian and there's Camilla kind of working on it. It looked like her bike height was just a little too low. Again, you can't adjust your bikes before the race. So when you go in, you kind of go in blind and just grab one that you hope is nothing. I mean, speaking from someone who's over 6 feet tall, such as yourself, Xander, if you get a bike that's on level 2, your quads are just going to be on fire and your knees going up to your chest. So that does play a factor a little bit. It does seem like she got on a short bike.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pay attention to that in about 2.5 hours when I'm racing this event. But for now, Vivian Tafuto, with the experience coming off of the race a couple of weeks ago where she was sort of running alone behind Meg Jacoby, now finds herself in 1st place.
Wow.
Making a move on the bike. We should have those splits here in a little bit. But you see Vivian in the inset screen, Alex Walker in the main view, probably finishing up her last few calories.
There goes Alex making a move. Okay, I wonder. Lauren got off the bike first.
Look at that, 142 for Vivian Tafuto. We talked about Camilla maybe losing some time.
Another huge move.
Fastest bike.
Yeah.
But just like we saw in the men's race with Nick Ryker making his move on the bike, Vivian does the same thing here. And finds herself fairly comfortably, at least for now, in 1st place with Camilla Massa in 2nd.
If there is one station that's going to make a big separation, it's the bike. And man, Vivian, who is awesome at the bike, clearly sold her soul in that thing. Let's see if she can keep up the intensity, though, however, on the runs with Camilla breathing down her neck. Wow, you talk about multiple stories. Here we are, Xander, at the beginning, talking about Megan Jacoby hitting this world record. Hard to bet against that, of course. I mean, if there were betting odds in Vegas right now, you would always take that bet. And then here we are with Camilla leading the race in the first half, and now Vivian on the back end.
And right now we have Vivian in first place. Our second and third place athletes didn't have a time this year. So a lot to shake out here in these last three stations. But
Absolutely.
Vivian Tafuto looking strong on the dead ball overs, with Camilla still in the mix in this station as well.
Yeah, I would hate to be the ladies that are in 19th and 20th spot right now for the World Championships, because it does look like Lauren and Camila are going to qualify time-wise. But then again, those ladies very well could be here as well too. So knowing if they're in the second heat or third heat, then they know what time to be even beforehand. If someone can yell it out to them, of course.
Meg Jacoby and Tara Jackson in as well. You see, there's the top five. Vivian in first, Camilla Massa in second. Lauren Griffin, who has kind of gotten some separation on Meg, holding on to that third spot right now. All of these athletes are on the station. Now Vivian is out. Vivian Tafuto, as we expected, the first athlete out of the dead ball over. She has 1,000 more meters of running with a tank push and pull in between, and then the burpees to finish.
Wow, Vivian really made that move on the assault bike, and it's paying off nicely for her. She's about to come in right in front of us for the tank push and pull. Luca was just talking about the assault bike for Camila. Couldn't quite catch exactly what he said, but he might have made mention about the height. I think he was talking about the seat. I think he said that she ran past it and had to come back, which we did see on screen. Which, of course, that's vital seconds. So that's definitely have Vivian right behind you. It's still possible for her to win this, though. Don't count her out exactly.
Here's a look at Meg Jacoby again, not having her best day, but still in it. Still gaining valuable experience, with this being her second DEKA FIT.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is a great example of being the best in the world, just only because of world record. Being the best in the world. Maybe you're not going to win today, but that's okay. You gain experience nonetheless. Then you know exactly and maybe she had a strategy right before this race, right? Maybe she did take it out a little bit too hot and she wanted to try new things, because I believe at the World Championship, she's going to be right there in the mix, of course.
And it's potentially something that could benefit her, right? With having 3 months of training, she's got more going on between now and then.
Absolutely.
You would assume, but it's the kind of thing where, if she had pulled away from the field again, well, then what happens when you get into a different situation? World Championship.
Right.
Now she's felt what it's like to lose a little bit of time, and sitting in fourth place right now. But Vivian Tafuto continuing to lead this field with Camilla Massa.
Camilla made up some room on the run. She is just, I would say, a couple of steps behind at the moment.
And here we go.
Oh,
so
wow.
These two are
All
together.
Right.
This is the same push that they're on right now. So, no counting laps, at least at the moment, between these two. As Vivian Tafuto and Camilla Massa, 2 strong athletes here on the tank push and pull. All they have left after this is another 500 of running and then the 20 ramp burpees.
We can argue that maybe Camilla might be a little bit stronger and maybe a little faster. Maybe. That's an opinion and an argument. However, I think that Vivian, her experience is going to pay off here at the end, given that Camilla has not competed yet. And I think Vivian's going to play this very smart as far as not giving in everything she's got on this tank, making this run, and then hitting those 20 burpees. Well, there's Megan.
There's Meg, Tara, and Lauren Griffith are on as well. And not 100% sure where they are in terms of, the number of laps relative to each other, but we'll see how that goes. Again, Vivian still leading Camilla. As I think that's Alex Walker in as well. So I'm excited to see the final time when Alex finishes this race. Again, she's sort of alone in 6th right now, but I think having the rest of this field to chase is going in terms of potentially moving up in the standings.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, this is exciting. This is great. seeing this many women on the tank at the same time, you don't get this very, very often. And now you get some of the best in the world finally competing each other more so than just maybe 1 or 2. Now we're getting 5 and 6. And World Championships is just going to be awesome.
So your time check, Vivian Tafuto's got 4 minutes to finish this race and set a new PR. And she's got it.
Wow, she's got it. Absolutely. Very capable of running about a 140, 150 split. And there she goes.
So Vivian's out. Camilla is just a couple of pulls away from finishing herself.
And
so we'll see what
there goes
Camilla's
Camilla.
got
All
left in the
right.
tank. Here we go.
Oh, this is going to be an exciting finish, guys. I think the runs are going to be very similar as far as pacing. It's just going to be who's just faster on the burpees. And also, too, strategy on the burpees. A lot of people like to do the very first burpee mat when they come in because it's the quickest to get to them. However, longer to run to the finish line. Then some people like to get the very last burpee mat. Then it's not much to just cross yourself at the finish line. Honestly, you can make an argument in a case for both, right? I know which one's better. Personally, if I was in their shoes right now, I would grab that very first mat, go straight to the burpees, and then sprint at the end. Tara out as well, too. I don't know if she's in third or Jacoby or Lauren, actually. Well, Lauren just left the tank, so she is not.
So it looks like Meg and Tara put some time into Lauren Griffith, and now Tara running a race very similar to what David Magida did a couple of weeks ago. She put herself at the front in the beginning, but has worked her way potentially onto the podium here.
Her and Megan are going to come down to the burpees as well, too, for third place. And it looks like Tara mentioned, she did actually, when I spoke to her a couple of days, in order to beat Megan, she has to beat her to the burpee pit. She has to be faster. As long as first, she stands a chance because Jacoby has gone under 60 seconds in the burpee pit. All right, so we got a Rabbit following in Vivian here. She's about to come in.
So here's Vivian coming around her final run.
All right, here we go.
And she's got a chance to take a big chunk of time off of her best. 33:20 is what she had coming into today. And she is already on burpees.
And
with
Camilla
2 minutes
right
to work
behind her. Okay, so depending on how fast her burpees are, it looks like Vivian might just take this by a few seconds.
And maybe a 3 or 4 burpee lead coming in for Vivian, who is still moving pretty well here.
Which is just enough of a lead to keep as long as you keep the intensity. And I don't think the weight is too much for these ladies to handle. These ladies are very strong. And Vivian's time prior to this was
33:20.
Wow.
Which she ran in Philadelphia kind of on her own.
So
she's going to go under that here. She still has
huge.
About a minute left and probably 4 or 5 burpees at the most.
So Tara with a good 4 or 5 burpee lead over Megan Jacoby. Let's see how Megan throws this down if she tries to make up some room.
So Vivian Tafuto, Camilla Moss on the left side, 1 and 2. There's
Vivian.
Wow. About a 32:45, taking 45 seconds off her time. Camilla Moss is just seconds behind her.
Wow.
Both of them are in the top 5.
Wow.
Already was, but Camilla is already in the
Camilla
top 5 heading in.
What a
Sarah
debut.
Jackson in third, Meg Jacoby in fourth are on the right side of the screen, with then Lauren Griffith and Alex Walker 5th and 6th on the left side of the screen here.
Wow. Camilla, I believe the final time was maybe 2 or 3 seconds off. That was the missing of the assault bike pit right there. And there, Tara taking third.
And Tara with,
wow,
you say only a 33:20. That was the second best time coming into today.
Wow.
So she ran what Vivian ran a couple of weeks ago, about 45 seconds faster than her fastest this year.
That's great. Wow, these ladies came to put on a show today. Jacoby's not going to have her fastest time, but 4th place is still good nonetheless. Like you said, gain experience. She'll learn from this. She's still very much the top threat going into World Championship. And Lauren Griffith
is up 34 She's in the top 10.
Wow. We are still just a couple minutes away from cutoff. Alex Walker with a new PR as well, too, by over a minute, right?
What's Megan's world record last week? 32-37.
It was a 32-27 for Meg last week, and Vivian Tafuto comes in under 33.
Okay. We're getting some insight here. Megan on this burpee box over when she had that little bit of a slip, starting to have hip issues. So therefore, now we have our reason as to why, of course, she died off there at the end.
But still fourth place, mixing it up, only second behind Tara Jackson.
An injured Megan Jacoby still running, what, a
you need to
33? That's scary, Xander. That's
And
scary.
so we have some more athletes still in the burpee zone. Remember, 36-13 was the 20th time coming in. Now, we had a few new athletes come into the mix. Camilla and Lauren are pushing things down, but even there, 18th coming in today was 36-10. So I'm not exactly sure who these athletes are here, and they really haven't been in the mix because of how deep this field is, but they both have a chance to get in under 36.
Absolutely.
And potentially earn a spot in Dallas.
Yes, if they're outside the top 20, they're in it now, that's for sure. And if they're already in the top 20, they're doing a great job improving their times. Not that it really matters at the moment, of course, but or maybe heats. I don't know if there's multiple heats actually at the World Championships. I can't imagine 20 people are going. So I take that statement back. It does matter. Actually.
Yeah, I know on some of the podcasts and such, some of the guys have been talking about there being 2 heats of 10. I'm not sure if that's official or I think 10 is the cutoff that
makes
trying
sense.
to do. I know last year was top 12,
yeah.
So everyone ran together. But yeah, to your point, there's not 20 different stations. But
right.
Looks like close to 10 athletes in this field come in under 36 minutes, all within that top 20 cutoff. So talk about a shakeup.
Yeah, wow, these ladies, phenomenal. What a fast course for them today. And Camila Maza, wow, massive Maza. I apologize, Camila, if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. Her previous time, best time was 37 last year. She ran, 33?
Right around 33 minutes, maybe even so.
I mean,
she and Vivian were about 3 or 4 seconds away from each other.
Crazy what a year can do, right? And definitely when you specialize in the training. But, man, just missing that assault bike pit was very well could have made up that first, second place. I think she's happy with her performance nonetheless, of course, because the goal overall here is to qualify for the World Championships, and she very well did that.
So our last few competitors in this women's heat are finishing up right now. And, it's been a great season. All 7 races have been exciting, but especially these last 2. I mean, it's just been a phenomenal preview of what we're going to expect in Dallas because, neither field has been full of World Championship competitors, but there have been enough to make the races dynamic, both at the very top, in the 3rd to 5th position, and even further down. And when you think about, some of the athletes that were in Philly and weren't here, vice versa, some of the people we saw earlier in the season, your Ryan Kents and Rylan Shaddix on the men's side, Warren Weeks on the women's side, Chris Ragossi presumably coming back as well. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, the races at World Championships is going to be unlike anything else. It's going to be the races of the year by far. You can make a case that the top 10, top 12, heck, let's just go ahead and say top 20 for female and males could very well make the podium at the World Championships because these times are just phenomenal. They get faster and faster every year.
And we talked about, that sub 33 being the equivalent of a sub 30 for the men. For the women, 5 men have gone sub 30.
Oh, no.
And now on the women's side,
I swear we didn't do it.
Unofficially, at least from what I can see on the live timing here, Vivian Tafuto 32:48, Camilla Massa 32:50.
Wow.
Both of them, those are the second and third time.
Yeah.
And now Tara Jackson at 33:21, Meg Jacoby 33:29, and Lauren Griffin sub 34 as well. So
wow. What a great first performance from Lauren Griffin. Yeah.
And coming into today, 34:04 was Tara Jackson in 4th place. We had 5 athletes, including Tara, go under that 34-minute mark here.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable, and that's fast, right? That is unbelievably fast. Yancey, of course, approaching us, telling us who could have predicted all of that. I don't know if he's talking about the sign falling behind us or what.
All right, Luke, do you want to take your turn with the interview here?
Yeah, hey, Vivian. Yeah, let's get an interview with the champ today. Come on.
I don't want to mess up your headphones.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Right,
You'll be good.
I'm so sweaty. Well, hey.
What's up?
Not much.
right,
Barely
we got-
conscious.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah, are you able to speak at all? Heart rate down a little bit?
A little bit. We'll see.
Vivian, congratulations on your win today.
Thanks.
Walk us through it. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling inebriated, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, generally I just kind of go where the race takes me today, or just in general. And today, dude, can we just give it up for Camilla? I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Gave her nothing but love throughout this whole race.
dude,
Yeah.
she kicked ass.
Yes,
It was
yes.
insane.
Absolutely.
I feel bad that she missed the bike in.
Yep. It cost her a few seconds, which could have potentially
Yeah, she was close
maybe
on
changed
those
first or
burpees,
second.
for sure.
However, that's just not the case. You're given with the cards you're dealt with, and you executed perfectly throughout your race as well too.
Thanks.
You set a PR for yourself as well too today.
I'm queen of the PRs.
Yes, absolutely. And I know we spoke briefly just a couple days ago as far as where your mindset's at,
Yeah.
how you're feeling about it. You knew Megan Jacoby was going to be at today's race,
Yep.
and the only two races you have done this year has been against Megan Jacoby.
Right. Yep.
Does it give you any confidence that you were able to beat her today, her being the world record? I know she had a little bit of a hip issue, it seems like, when she fell off the burpees.
Really?
Yeah, which set her back a little bit.
No.
But
shoot.
what type of confidence are we feeling right now getting a win, your first DEKA win?
Yeah. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I think all you can do is the best on your day, and today it happened to be a good race for me. I was able to keep it together. The last race I fell apart a little bit more than I wanted to on the tank, and so today I really wanted to execute that well. I think more than anything in the burpees, and I'm really happy that I was able to do that. There's always work to be done, I think, everywhere, but I think some of the stations that I really wanted to get to better, the box step overs, wall ball overs, tank, and burpees, I think I did better than I did in the last race. So that was my goal, really, is to execute some of the weaknesses better and just always race the race I'm in, right? I can't control what everybody else is doing. When Meg wasn't, quite as in front in the middle, I think I was coming in thinking that I was going to try to hold on to Meg as long as possible, but then just kind of being able to adapt to the situation. Camille was just way out there. So I was like, all right, well, if I want to take a stab at winning this thing, I got to go out with her and make sure that the pressure's on. So that was kind of how the race went, and I am glad it's done.
Yeah, there you go. I bet.
It's done.
You dug into the bank game a little bit.
Oh,
so
sure.
you and Nick Ryker today, both the winners, y'all made your move on the assault bikes.
Yeah.
Now we get to see the splits and everything. I don't know if you keep track of your splits or not as well. You guys were 20 seconds above your competitors, which really separated y'all. I know Camilla kind of made her move there at the end towards it, but you were still able to hang on to the win. But where I know you're a strong assault bike because, of course, I had
You're my DEKA
respectful,
strong.
you're being your judge of DEKA strong, and you went like a 110 or a 105, 110. It was phenomenal. So I know you have a strong assault bike time. Did you know that is where you wanted to make your move? Was that part of the strategy to hit that hard, or was it to be conservative? Or walk through that.
I was more conservative than I was last time. I think last DEKA FIT, I want to say I got off the bike around 120.
Okay.
This time I got off around 130. So it's such a balance act, right? I want to take advantage of my strength, but you got to be able to come off that and run and keep it together for the rest of the race. So I was kind of trying to balance, going hard, I think, on the first half, but also just making sure that I don't completely fall apart on the next line, the next station. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, Vivian, we are very proud of you. Congratulations on your win today.
Thank you.
All right, last thing. How are we feeling about World Championships now? Is Vivian going to be the 2023 DEKA FIT World Champion?
That's pretty optimistic.
Very hard not to be. You won today. Why not?
There's a lot of good girls. I always kind of go in with the mantra of why not me.
Sure, absolutely.
But I think, and I said this in our pre-race thing, I think the cool thing about racing with so many athletes that you respect is it kind of creates this win-win scenario. If I win, it's awesome, but I know how good everybody else is. I mean, they'll impress the shit out of me. So it's just, I go in and I try to execute my best race on that day, and where the cards fall, they fall. So.
Oh no! Oh, we're having another.
I think that was calling my answer bullshit. That's what that was.
Well, Vivian, you're a hell of an athlete.
Thanks.
Congratulations on your win today.
Thank
Even
you.
more so of a humble of a person, of course. So you did awesome. You deserve this win today, and I'm excited to see how you compete at the World Championships.
Thank you, and thank you guys for putting this together. It's so awesome. My family's gonna be really happy to get to watch. So.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be excited to watch that one. So awesome. Enjoy your time with Mickey and Minnie today. You're going to Disney World, right?
No, I'm trying to get home. Trying to get home to the cats.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Vivian.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Yes. You what? Okay. We're gonna do with Megan. Come on in, Megan. All right. Well, oh, it's live. Yeah.
We are live.
Go ahead, Xander's walking through the questions.
Hi. All right, so we're joined now by Meg Jacoby, 4th place today after last week's performance in Philly. So, how did that go? We saw you take it out in front at first, and then had a little bit of a spill. It looked like on the box step overs. Did that kind of affect the rest of your race?
So I kind of tweaked my hip a little bit, maybe like a week or two ago, but been getting through stuff. I landed on that same hip, and something just did not feel right. It's really just when I was running. Felt fine on all the stations, but I felt like I was limping pretty decent. My stride, my running form was just definitely off from that. So, but no excuses. Things happen. That's racing. The rest of the girls ran phenomenal. Super, super proud, especially of Camilla. Really good friend of mine, but I think she kind of came in under the radar in this race a little bit, and she's been really putting in the work. So I'm incredibly happy for her and Vivian, who were duking it out. And then I knew I just had to try to hang on to Tara as much as I could, but she got ahead of me on that last run, and I just couldn't run the way I run. So
obviously, right on that, you couldn't execute whatever your plan was coming in today, but having been through this once, feeling what DEKA FIT is going to feel like all the way through a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did you come in with a different approach compared to how you started Philly?
Well, my plan was to take a little more time on the stations and utilize the runs, because that's typically where I feel the strongest. Obviously, then, having the running not going great and feeling like something was a little wrong, that definitely changed my approach, and I knew I had to keep catching on the stations and not keep falling behind, because the gap was starting to build a little bit on the runs. So that's when I just knew, like, I got to send it on these stations as hard as I can. And I felt fine on the station, so obviously that was part of it as well. It's like, well, I feel okay on this, so I might as well give it all. Well, minus the assault bike. The assault bike today was absolutely horrendous. So, you know how it goes.
And you picked 2 good races to step into because of the level of competition, right? When you think ahead to World Championships in a couple of months, almost all of the people we expect to be in that first heat with you, you've seen now in action, right? In a lot of cases, you've gone against them in other events, whether it's, mostly in High Rocks, but now to, have taken the field, so to speak, or stepped on with everyone else that you're going to see. I mean, it's got to give you a little bit of confidence just knowing what you might be able to expect. You've now seen Vivian twice, went up against Tara today. We know that Lauren and some others are going to be here as well, but you've really been able to throw down against a lot of your top competitors.
Yeah, for sure. And there was another girl who I met.
Lauren Griffith.
Alexander Walker.
Alex Walker, the two of them.
Know. Yeah, maybe it was her. I mean, there were a couple people that I didn't even know that were really right up there for a really long time. So, I think it's cool to see new names getting into it. I mean, this is my second DEKA FIT, and this will be my first, year competing in all 3 events, so I'm still pretty new too. But it's cool. It's cool seeing the field getting broader, new names coming in, and pushing us, and that's what pushes me. And obviously, you know, I get to compete with these women. I respect them. They're my friends. So I love racing against them, and that's what makes us better, and that's what helps elevate all of us is days like today. And we all have that day where maybe everything's not clicking, but having those girls there is what pushes you to keep going and keep fighting and finish, you know.
And last thing, obviously, don't want you to give away your secrets, but there's about 3 months between now and World Championships.
Yeah.
So what's the focus on your end? You know, in about 3 weeks, you've been through it twice now. You've competed against a lot of these athletes.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit of time. You know, you might have some other stuff in between as well,
Right.
but some time to go back to the lab a little bit. And, you know, what's the focus between now and December?
Well, I mean, a lot of us will be competing in High Rocks in early November, and then I think after that it'll just be like resharpening the DEKA stations for the few weeks after that up until Worlds, and just hoping that the overall high-end fitness, the fitness from High Rocks will transfer over. I felt like it did well for me last year. I was in a very similar situation. I actually ran High Rock Chicago, and then a couple weeks, same thing, ran the DEKA Mile at Worlds. So, yeah, just hoping that I can sharpen things up a few weeks after that, and that the high volume and all of that will just transfer well. I'm sure it's probably most people's plan because we're all, you know, in the same thing. We're competing in the same races, so it'll be probably that for everybody. But
All right, well, I know it wasn't the day you wanted, but thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
And we
hey,
look
you know
forward to
what?
seeing
It
you in a
happens.
few months.
It happens to the best of us. So,
Absolutely.
all right, thank you. Take care.
Meg
Bye,
Jacoby,
peeps.
another solid performance today. We'll be rejoined here by Luke in a second as we get ready to wrap things up. So that's the benefit of being here on site is we got to hear from Nick Ryker earlier after the men's race. We hear from both Vivian Tafuto and Meg Jacoby.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
And, you know, it just gets me even more excited for what we're going to see in World Championships in a few months.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is awesome. I don't know what specifically you guys spoke about, of course, but I would assume she maybe talked about her hip as well.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
I mean, she said that she felt like it didn't affect her too much on the stations, but it was really she couldn't run the way that she wanted it and was expected coming into today. She talked about, you know, from what she went through in Philly, her plan today was to use the run to her advantage and really open up a gap. And she obviously wasn't able to do that, but we'll expect to see a much different Meg Jacoby in a couple of months for sure.
Yeah, either way, Meg Jacoby is the top threat going into the women's category for the World Championships this December. So don't stray away from the fact that just because she had one bad race whatsoever, and a 33-minute, even with a bad hip, that's scary stuff, guys. So expect a sub-32 potentially in December, of course, if everything goes correctly.
For sure. So I think we're going to take a look at the top 10 here from today's races as we get ready to wrap things up here in Orlando. So again, here's the men's race. Felt like it happened, you know, last year with how kind of the women's race was, but earlier this morning we saw Nick Ryker put his foot down with about a 15-second PR, getting the win today. Isaac Sanderson taking some time off as well. And VJ Jones went out hot, did have the fastest run, but maybe not the time he was looking for. It's interesting, Luke, you mentioned he ran about a 17:28 5K split earlier in the year in SoCal. So similar station time, but maybe it just took a little bit more out of him and he couldn't have enough on the run.
Sure.
And then Glenn Race
and
himself
Kyle
to get into the top 20, we believe.
Yeah, and I believe I got the names incorrect. I believe I was thinking that was Chaz who was competing against Glenn this whole time. It was, in fact, Kyle Reed, who has just mentioned that this is his second ever DEKA race. He's qualified for the time, and Aaron Nowlin as well, too. Chaz just missing the cutoff time by 5 seconds. Now, again, I don't know if Chaz has a faster time maybe previously as well. However, this is great for the Glenn and Kyle for sure, qualifying and solidifying themselves in down.
And I think there's a chance that at least one or two of these top 10 came from the second heat, because I know
that's possible.
There was, I think, one athlete in the mix whose name wasn't appearing, you know, on the live timing.
Right.
But I think Keith Hardwick and maybe Aaron Nowlin as well. Those may be guys from the second heat who threw down pretty solid time.
Absolutely. And Xander, just real quick as well, too. I've noticed this before. If you want to go sub 30 in these races, your 5K time has to be under 18 minutes. There's only so fast you could do all the stations, but you could definitely improve your 5K running time by, let's say, a minute if you really want to. So if Nick Ryker wants to break that 30, which I think he will do in December, he has to run sub 18 in that 5K.
And if you looked at the splits there, he ran a 30-15 and an 18-15 5K. So right on that threshold where,
so,
if you take 15 seconds off the run, he's right at that 30-minute mark.
Absolutely.
So then over on the women's side, as we should have those up here in a second, there we go. Vivian Tafuto, who we heard from a few minutes ago with a 32-48. Look at that run times between Vivian and Camilla, just trading blows all the way. We saw Camilla lead for, the middle stretch of the race. Vivian pulled it back after the bike. Camilla tried to close the gap and kicked heading into the burpees, and she did a great job to pull back almost all that time. Then Kara Jackson and Meg Jacoby a little bit further back, but we heard from Meg again, messed up her hip a little bit when she fell on the box step overs, still came away with a sub 30-30. And then how about Lauren Griffith and Alex Walker, two athletes who Lauren didn't have a time this year, and Alex was, I think, over 36 minutes in 16th place, or at least over 35 minutes before today. She takes about 90 seconds off of her time. Lauren Griffith goes sub 34, and I think all 6 of these times are, if not all in the top 10, pretty close. I think Alex Walker is right around that 10th spot. So we're set up for an incredible race in Dallas.
And I think this is a stat that we can probably do some research after, but I would like to say sub 33 is maybe the women's standard for sub 30 for men. And it looks like Camila might, if I can think off the top of my head, probably the 5th woman to ever do so, behind Lauren Week, Jacoby, Vivian, Tara, and I want to say Camila. I can't think of any other on the top of my head at the moment, but that is a standard as well too for the women. And you're going to have to run a 32 minutes to win the World Championships, and definitely to beat Megan Jacoby come December.
Yeah, we expect to see Lauren Weeks at World Championships. We expect to see Chris Rogloski, Alondra Greenlee, who are a little bit further back, sort of in the low 34s so far this year, but they're putting in work as well. On the men's side, there's going to be some heavy hitters coming in. Rich Ryan, Ryan Kent, David McGee, Rylan Shattuck. The 4 of the top guys. I know Rich doesn't really have the time this year, reflective of his World Championship from last year. But there you go. You have top times. You have a world champion coming in Dallas, and it's been a fun season. These last 2 races have had almost the World Championship feel, and it's going to be ramped up another level here in December.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see if they are in fact doing 2 heats of 10, right, for the World Championships, where Rich Ryan falls. Is he I don't know where he is on the top 20 mark as of after today or not. Is he going to be in the first heat just because he is the world champ, which we would love to see it, of course. And we know he didn't run the race that he's capable of in Philly. But, man, it doesn't go unnoticed today. Vivian Tafuto, Nick Ryker are champions today. They held their own. They're going to Disney World afterwards. Mickey and Minnie's got a bottle of champagne waiting for them. They did awesome, and I'm very proud of both of them.
And both Nick and Vivian, right, coming into today, I don't think we would have said that either of them are among the top contenders for a world championship, right, with some of the other names that we've seen. But they're coming in as winners, and they both have podiumed in the last 2 races. They both win today. So you talk about sort of results and experience and momentum. From those last 2 races, they are coming in, yes, there's 3 months between now and World Championships, but they have the momentum to take with them into training and really put in that work to throw down against the top heavy hitters. So it's going to be...
Confidence is key, for sure. And you got to have confidence if you want to be a world champ. You got to have all the recipe for it, and they most certainly do.
So I think that's going to just about do it for our broadcast today. Again, it was great here in Orlando. Huge shout out to Jason Dupree, who's sitting
OCR
behind you,
report
Luke, right now. Can see the magic happening on the other screen. Here's Jason.
There he is.
Joining us on camera right now. Texan. We have 3 great rabbits, Megan, Zach, and Amber as well. And a huge shout out to all of our rabbits all season long. And now, I don't know about you, I'm about to go get ready to race.
Yeah, hey,
so
best of luck to you, man. Let's
you.
Qualify. I'm doing the ruck division today, so, what better way to do it with a hurt back than just add 30 pounds to your back, right? Go figure. But best of luck, Xander. I hope you qualify, man. And then, of course, we're looking forward to doing this in Dallas in a few months.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's great to be here in person. thanks to everyone who's joined us on the call today. So we'll see you in a few months in Dallas, and check out the OCR report for more live streams coming up. I know we've got a Savage race in a few weeks and some other stuff surrounding OCR World Championship. So here it is. Look at that. Just like I said, OCR World Championships in about 3 weeks. Savage Dallas right in there as well. We got some more Spartan races. World's Toughest Mudder. That's always an awesome event.
Yeah, it is.
And then, of course, the DEKA World Championships live on site in Dallas. 3 days of competition. That's going to be cool to have the mile and the strong, competing together.
Absolutely.
It's the only time all year that you can see the DEKA mile and the DEKA strong, not individually in your own gym. So again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Check out the OCR report. Join the Patreon to help support this broadcast effort and help us push the sport forward. So for Luke Altman, I'm Xander Keane. Thanks again for tuning in. It's been an awesome season, and we'll see you all in Dallas.
All right, guys. All right.
That was awesome. I love going on site.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was fun. And I love the interview.
Yeah.
That's good. When do you run? Just in between 9 and 12?
11:30, yeah.
Oh, y'all running soon?
Not for a little bit.
Trying to get our crew.
Okay.
I'm not running till 1, so
I'm 11:30, so I got a while. I was originally, I think, signed up for 9 because I didn't know you were coming. I didn't know we were going to do this on site.
Sure.
So I went on last week and was like,
I'm seeing the other come by. Tell them to hang on for a second. Okay. Yeah, I think with previous experiences, I've done it before. It's like 9 to 12.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could just line up right now. They don't. But I assume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was cool, man. That was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the craziest thing is getting people to come up and talking to us as we're talking.
I know, yeah.
I guess they don't realize that we're 200 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what Luke said about the bike.
I think he said
being in the wrong position.
Or ram height.
Okay.
But Megan's, whoever that is, Megan, he came up like,
At least we got her on to confirm that it was her.
yeah, that's right. I figured something was up. Is that never Megan's movie? So, you getting ready? First DEKA, I like it. Yep, I like it. You have what's the time you got to get? I guess
I'm not.
Dallas,
Yeah,
right?
because I'm running a marathon that weekend.
That's
so
right.
I guess in theory,
Yeah, our age group is ridiculous.
I know.
I think I'm 61, 37. So I'm nowhere close.
I mean, this is really like I did a mile in February, but obviously I'm not really training specifically for this right now.
Oh, sure.
So it's going to be a like
marathon training, training,
have fun, see how it goes, and then next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
probably next year. Take it a little more serious.
For sure. Guys, tired?
No, we're ready to go. No, I actually feel warmed up now. That's it. We're done. We took turns running this run.
Jason's over there. Looks like you're doing something.